the President of the ANC Youth League delivered a political update reaffirming that the ANC Youth League is not a passive observer in the history but a revolutionary force shaping the present and the future. The President of the Youth League emphasized that the ANC Youth League was not formed out of convenience or chance, but out of necessity to ensure that young people are actively involved in the struggle for liberation and transformation of society. The youth have always been in the forefront of confronting oppression, injustices, inequalities, and today the responsibility continues and the legacy remains with the generations. While 1994 marked a significant democratic breakthrough, the President stressed that the true freedom remains incomplete as economic oppression continues. The structure of the apartheid-era economic exclusion have not been dismantled, and many young people remain trapped in unemployment, poverty, and lack of opportunities. The promises of democracy must be translated into economic transformation, where the country's wealth is shared amongst all, not just the privileged few. The NEC reaffirmed its commitment to economic freedom in our lifetime and the urgent need for radical transformation to break the cycle of economic marginalization. The ANC Youth League remains committed to its mission to champion wealth distribution and nationalization of key industries and the empowerment of the working class and the poor. The meeting further emphasized that the ANC Youth League must be the most radical, disciplined, and determined force in the fight for economic justice, organizing and mobilizing young people to confront the injustice in society. On financial exclusion and historic debts and student accommodation in universities and TVET colleges, the NEC expressed its deep concern about the financial exclusion of students due to historic debts. The funding and the poor accommodation conditions in higher learning institutions, and the ANC Youth League strongly believes that education must not be a privilege, but a fundamental right to be accessible to all. We demand the immediate clearance of historic students' debt, the full implementation of free education for working class and poor students. The ANC Youth League also calls for urgent intervention in the student housing, where many students continue to endure inhuman living conditions. Government and institutions must prioritize expanding and improving student accommodation to ensure that the learning environment is proper. Youth unemployment and national crisis. Youth unemployment remains one of the most pressing crises facing South Africa. The ANC Youth League continues to fight that the fueling of social ills such as crime, substance abuse, and poverty are as a result of that. The Youth League demands aggressive interventions in make sure that the industrialization of the economy to create sustainable jobs, expansion of public employment programs targeted at the youth, enforcement of employment equity to ensure more young people are taken into key industries, for greater accountability for the private sector in the creation of jobs. The ANC Youth League will not remain passive while an entire generation faces in economic devastation, where we will continue to mobilize for bold policies to shift that place youth employment and economic inclusion for the youth of this country. On the budget, speech, and the VAT increases, the ANC Youth League remains deeply opposed to any increase of value-added tax, which is a problem that will affect the poor and the working class and communities. We reject any measure that places the burden of economic recovery on the shoulder of the marginalized, while corporate and wealth continues to enjoy tax breaks. The youth demands that government explore progressive taxation policies, including increasing corporate tax for multinational corporations, closing tax loopholes that allow corporations to evade their tax, expand the wealth tax on higher income earners. We will not allow an anti-poor economic policy to go unchallenged. The ANC Youth League will be at the forefront of mobilizing against any decision that depends on inequalities and economic exclusion. On the NYDA interviews and budget, the ANC Youth League acknowledges the ongoing NYDA interviews taking place this week. We extend our best wishes to all the interviewees and hope that Those selected will serve the youth with dedication, ensure that their interest and inspiration are prioritized. We emphasize that the NYDA must remain a progressive institution that truly serves the needs of young people. It must not be a mere bureaucratic structure, but an entity that effectively tackles youth unemployment and economic exclusion. We furthermore that the youth calls for a significant increase in the budget of the NYDA to ensure the implementation of large-scale programs that genuinely uplift young people. Without sufficient funding, the NYDA will remain ineffective to address youth development challenges. We will continue to advocate for a well-resourced NYDA that is able to fulfill its mandate without financial problems. The ANC Youth League does not exist to beg for reforms from capitalist system designed to keep the majority of people in poverty. We are not here to negotiate with monopoly capital. We are here to dismantle it. Our struggle is not for inclusion into an injustice system, but it is for a complete transformation. The land, the economy, and the wealth of this country must be reclaimed and placed under the ownership of the people. We reject an economy where 70% of key resources, including minerals and agriculture products, are exported to enrich multinational corporations while our people suffer unemployment, landlessness, and exclusion from economic activities. The ANC Youth League demands an end to exploitative systems, calling for a radical state intervention in the internalization of local beneficiation and prioritization of domestic economic development over foreign profit-driven interests. We reject the notion that young people must be patient while capital continues to exploit our labor and resources. The time for half-measure and empty rhetoric is over. The ANC Youth League will escalate its campaign for radical economic transformation, job creation, land distribution, and nationalization of key industries. We will fight against all who seek to water down the revolutionary agenda and remind those in position of power that the patience of the Youth League and the youth of this country is gone. The ANC Youth League will mobilize, organize, and fight against any policy that deepens inequalities, economic exclusion. We will not allow restrictive measures discussed as fiscal discipline to suffocate the livelihoods of our people. If government institutions need more revenue, they must tax the rich, close corporate tax loopholes, ensure that our resource benefits in South Africa first, not increase VAT, which punishes the poor mostly. The ANC Youth League will remain at the forefront of resisting any economic policy that protects capital at the expense of the masses. Strengthening the fight capacity of the ANC Youth League through political education. The ANC Youth League remain committed to deepening the ideological clarity and activism of its members. To this end, we are busy political education series to be rolled out, covering critical topics such as economy, transformation, historic perspective, liberation struggle, and the role of the youth in shaping the future. Crime in all sectors, a national emergency. The NEC expressed deep concern over high crime rates in South Africa, which continues to endanger communities and destabilize the country. The ANC Youth League condemns violent crimes such as gender-based violence, human trafficking, hijacking, drug-related crimes, and other criminal activities that threaten the safety and the well-being of the citizens. And we are aware that we've seen the stats that even our prisons are full of illegal foreigners. On organizational matters and strengthening of the organization and advancing the youth mobilization. Post the NEC meeting and NEC Lekgotla, the ANC Youth League has adopted a program of action for 2025, which will see the youth championing the interest of the youth of young people, mobilizing them behind the banner of the ANC. Part of the POA was recruitment, which continues beyond congresses, should not stop simply because there is no Congress being prepared for. The ANC Youth League remains committed to growing its membership base to ensure a strong and more active movement capable of driving meaningful change at all levels of society. As part of the Building Fundamental Youth Movement, the NEC assessed the organizational state of the League and the progress made in the rebuilding of structures. The meeting reaffirmed that a strong and active youth league is key to ensure realization of economic emancipation for young people. Therefore, membership recruitment for purposes of outstanding regional and provincial congresses has been extended to the 30th of March. The NEC further resolved to extend the deadline for sitting of outstanding provincial and regional congresses to the 30th of April 2025. This extension allows for thorough preparation, ensuring that all structures of the Youth League are revived and operational to advance the interest of young people. The ANC Youth League remains committed to building a mass-based, militant, ideological sound movement that will serve as a vanguard of young people in the struggle. The League is pleased with the successful convening of provincial and regional congresses across the country, demonstrating a growing confidence of young people in the organization. The following provincial congresses have been held successfully: the Eastern Cape, Free State, Gauteng, KwaZulu-Natal, Limpopo, Mpumalanga, and Northern Cape. At the regional level, congresses have taken place: Alfred Nzo, Amatole, Joe Kabi, Nelson Mandela, O.R. Tambo, Sarah Patman, Fezile Tabi, Lijoli Putz in the Free State, Ekurhuleni, Greater Johannesburg, Greater Tswana, Greater Citybeng, Greater West Rand, Limpopo, Peter Mukaba, Norman Mashabanes, Kukune, Vembe, Waterberg, Enkanzeni, Gertsibande, Nkangala, Northern Cape, Francis Bart, Namakwa, Pixie, ZFM, Northwest, Ngaka, Mudira, Mulema. While we are noting the above following provinces we have not went to their congresses, Northwest and the Western Cape. At the regional level, the following regions are due. In the Eastern Cape, it's only one region that has not went to a conference, which is Chris Hani. In the Free State, it's two regions, which is Mangaung and Tamfusanyana. In KwaZulu-Natal, it's all the 11 regions that have went to conference, but the provincial conference have said. In the Northwest, it's 4 regions, 3 regions that have not went. Is Bujanala, Kenneth Kaunda, and Dr. Root. In Northern Cape, it's only 1 region that has not went. It's JTG. In the Western Cape, it's all the regions that have not went. The ANC Youth League remains committed to ensure that all outstanding congresses are concluded within the given time frame, allowing a greater organizational coherence and unity in advancing the youth struggle. Thank you very much.
Thank you, President. We're now going to open, colleagues, for questions, clarity-seeking questions from all the colleagues and media houses that are present by way of show of hands. So you'll be number 1, you'll be number 2, and okay, let's get the 2 hands first.
Thank you very much. My name is Luna. I'm from the Belen Guardian. For me, President, it's just 2 main issues. The one, I know someone you saw the Treasurer General's interview on the NYDA board. What I want to know is to say, what do you make about the remarks of the Treasurer General? I mean, saying that he was hired for a position and then further being put on a position that he never even applied for, and spending them some time. And secondly, there was a reconfiguration of the ANC both in KwaZulu-Natal and in Gauteng. They brought people like Jeff Radebe and Amos Masondo. As the Youth League, don't you feel that those that were there during their time, maybe their time is up now, that the Youth League, maybe considering also that Gauteng is a province that is full of young people, don't you think maybe it would have been wiser maybe to add more young voices in the PTTs? Thank you so much.
Thank you. Number 2. Okay. Thank you very much. President?
Yeah. Okay. You can still come back. Thanks, SG. I think before the Act was amended in 2021, those who have worked in political offices know that in political offices there was not even interviews or many other things. You have just been called in and be deployed in the office to assist politically. And when you arrive there, you are given different roles. Now, as well, like any other person who was deployed in any political office, they were moved around in different roles. It was out of his control. There was nothing he was going to do. The best thing that he did was to also declare it. Because normally people will not declare, will say, if I'm employed as a PA, I remain there, even when you have been moved to another responsibility. But it's also said there in the interview that he complained formally that this responsibility you've given me is not in line with what I've applied for. Now, I think on that issue, the municipality will also respond on it. Those who have been deployed in political offices, they know it's nothing new. It happens all the time of movement of people in the structure, and that is resolved. And he has declared it. Even the chair of the committee says he has declared all of those matters. Now, it's not something that was hidden. But also, an interesting matter that was done by the EFF is that those discussions, the committee says some of those things were processed in committee. Now, it was a populist stand by the EFF, but we expected them to act that way because, anyway, it's the TG of the Youth League that was interviewed. Now, it was a political opportunity for populist organization like the EFF to play to the gallery. And it's fine, they're doing their job. They're doing what they want to get their voters for. I will act the same if I was them after losing such elections and the last elections not growing with a clear program that in 2026 there will not be EFF in this country because no one is going to vote for a populist organization like that one. They're highly rejected by everyone. They are frustrated. Now, they must do what they do best to try to survive. On the laying of charges, you know, a corrupt organization like the EFF, led by corrupt CIC, goes and lays charges to People Protect about something that is not there. I'm saying that leader of the EFF, even today, we still don't know how he has survived a case of money laundering, a case of corruption, a case of using a trust fund of his son, you know, a child born, given a name is named for institution that will be utilized to steal from the poor in Limpopo. Now, the EFF is the last organization to speak about corruption, but the People Protect is a good institution. They must go there and do whatever, they must investigate, and we are clear that they'll get the right answers. But they don't have the credibility, the EFF, to be the ones that are seen to be respecting the constitution of the country or they are of high value. We know even in municipalities where they are given responsibility to govern, they've collapsed them. Now, it's a last organization to worry about them. We're not even worried about them. They must do what they do best. We'll also be on them. We know there are things very soon we'll be opening case against them also. It means the EFF and the Youth League will be busy in police stations very soon. On the issue of Donald Trump withdrawing funds, it's unfortunate, you know, because those funds, a lot of people depend on them. HIV and AIDS was a big crisis in this country. We would have wanted them to be engaged, and that we need all the support in this country, especially now when we are facing fiscal problems, and especially now with the high level of inequalities and the problems we're facing with the slow-growing economy. We can't afford a situation whereby some of the funds are moved back. I think the president of the country and the minister, we've got a very fast minister who's young, Comrade Amola. He must go and try to engage the embassy, everybody else. Let's do everything in our power to secure the little that we have. Afro Forum, Donald Trump offered them refugee camps there in the USA. We're ready to release them, that they must go. But they know they're living better in South Africa. They will never agree to go and stay in the USA supported by Donald Trump because here in South Africa, they own 87% of the land. Now, they want to threaten us with Donald Trump, knowing very well that they're the biggest beneficiary of land theft here in this country. Now, if Afro Forum doesn't want to work with us to build this nation and unite everyone, they are free to leave and go to the USA. But if they want to work with us, they must come and engage the Youth League. They must not rush to the USA. They must come and engage the Youth League here, and we engage with them on how best we can make sure that we restructure, we distribute the land, they assist us to also restructure the economy to benefit majority. If they truly love South Africa, they must play a role to assist us to resolve the socio-economic problems caused by apartheid, which they are beneficiaries of. Now we're open, our doors are open here in the Tool House. than them taking a flight, going to the USA, which will not assist them with anything. They must urgently come to Laos and engage with the ANC and say that how best can we make sure that because Afrikaners have nowhere else to go than being in South Africa. I'm sure a lot of Afrikaners don't want to associate with Afro-Forum anymore. The only place where Afrikaners are free to exist is in South Africa. Now, they don't exist in the USA. There's no Afrikaners in the USA. They're here in South Africa. Now, I'm sure by now, many Afrikaners who love South Africa will not agree with what Afro-Forum is doing. We're saying Afrikaners must rise everywhere and fight for a non-racial society and fight that the gains of democracy must not be reversed. Afro-Forum must not be utilized to put blacks and whites against each other when the ANC has worked overtime to unite and build one nation in this country. Now, we're inviting all Afrikaners who are ready to engage with us on our economic issues that we're engaging on how to dispute the world of this country. They must come forward and we're ready to engage with them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, President. I think the questions that would have been raised are answered. There is another follow-up. Follow-up, we'll note you as number 1. There is number 2. Yeah, okay. Let's have you.
Thank you. Howard Omawoleo from UFM. On the question of Afro-Forum, many people, lawyers, ordinary people, those who understand the law better, have said that this misinformation campaign actually constitutes a crime of treason. I regard the Youth League as somewhat of a pressure group within the liberation movement. What is your comment on the fact that the government has not done anything like pressing charges? Do you think that the ANC government, from when it took over in 1994, has been acting firmly enough against racism?
Okay, noted.
President, you didn't answer my question of the restructuring of the provinces.
Okay. President?
Look, on the issue of the old being included in the restructuring of the provinces, we're dealing with an abnormal situation in KZN. Let's start with KZN, where the communities and society there, research tells us that they want certain caliber of leaders to lead the emergent movement. And we believe that the likes of Jeff Khateb and Mabuya Kulu are the right people to lead the ship and engage communities, royal councils, traditional leaders, but also ordinary society to bring back our support. Because they've got a history also of when the ANC was at its lowest in KZN. Those comrades and their generation have a history of taking it up about 50%. Now, we're saying that we're under siege in KZN. We've been pushed back by our own former president of the ANC. Now, it is not a normal situation. But yes, there are young people who are excluded there. There's a mixture of generations. There are generations that came, immediate graduates of the Youth League. I always call them the missing middle. You know, they're too old to be young. They're too young to be old. Most of them are there in the structure of the ANC. In Gauteng, we have close to 12 young people who are below the age of 35 in that task team. We've brought back seasoned comrades like Amos Masondo, the likes of Boho, Pupape. There's an inclusion also of a mixture of different generations also in Gauteng. It's not an easy one. The ANC has never been to have to deal with such a situation. And we're saying that we're trying all systems, we're trying to bring everyone on board, we're trying to bring those of experience, those who have been trained as organizers to come back so that we regain the confidence of our people. Because in both the provinces and also nationally, it has proven that we've lost 60% of confidence of our people. Now we have a full responsibility to build structures that are responsive. As you can see in the Youth League, we've said in the Youth League that we don't want task teams anymore. We want constitutional structures everywhere so that they're charged up. And part of the plan why we want that conferences must end of the Youth League by end of April is because from May moving forward, we want to be focusing on doing community programs to revive the confidence of our people to go out in numbers in 2026. That when the last PC weren't pushed out on the street because we can't afford to have people who are disrangled organized against the ANC. They've been put in because the reconfiguration of structures, it was not a process of paging comrades. It was a process of reinforcing and building a strong team to resolve all the problems we're faced with. On the opening of cases, it's a good question. Than EFF going to open the case to the Public Protector or reporting, they will rather join hands and will push pressure on the state to open a case against Afro-Forum. I fully agree. What Afro-Forum is doing, it's a crisis. is they want to collapse this country, utilizing all elements to destroy what South Africa has been built for, going against the unity and the principles and the values that we are doing to build this country. Now, then people focusing on other things that don't matter. We must be focusing on how to push back elements in AfroForum who want to take us back to apartheid. Thanks.
Thank you very much, President. I think everybody's question would have been answered in relation to what is going to be done. Like the President is saying, we are going to be friends of the court, if not pressing charges against the AfriForum ourselves on treason now. Then the rest of other progressive formations should be joining us in that particular call. But that's an undermine of our sovereignty as a country, as an independent nation state in Africa. We think that AfriForum is taking us back. It's going to just ignite and undermine the reconciliation project that has been done since 1994, after 350 years of colonialism and apartheid in this country. We think that they should know better that they are beneficiaries of a system that was unjust, declared in the 70s by the United Nations. I don't think that anybody anywhere else in the world should be taking AfriForum seriously after the atrocities that were committed under colonialism and apartheid from which they benefited from. Very sober, insane South Africans who are white know that this AfriForum jitter is just an element of trying to undermine a democratic elected government in South Africa by way of trying to invite other another newly elected 47th administration in America to intervene in a sovereign country. It has never happened. That's a total treason, and it should be deregistered as a formal organization. And that's what the Youth League is going to be doing moving forward. But colleagues, thank you very much for this productive press briefing. See you again. Thank you.